Does this remind you of your shop? How frustrated do you get when you can't find what you're looking for? How many hours do we waste in a day trying to find items? So what I did, I actually just made them hollow. If we just knew where everything was, how much better life would be. If you look for something for 6 to 7 minutes every day for an entire year, do you realize that's a 40-hour work week you could save? That's a vacation. Hey guys, it's Jeff, Scenic Landscaping. Today, we're going to cover a video. I wanted to go over and show you some of the additions and some of the things that I have really liked and how it saved me so much time. And so today, I just want to go over my big power wall of all of our tools that we've got hanging on here and how much room it has saved me. You know, at first, I wasn't sure if I was really going to like it, but after using this thing, getting used to it, it has just been wonderful. What I've learned that's been really great about all this is, if a tool's out, I know it's out because there's a hole for it and there's no tool. And so you could just really look at the wall, you know what's out, and it just makes it so much easier. And you know what's funny is all these things you sit in the floor or on cabinets, and it would take up an area, about a 10 by 10 area is about what it took just to keep all this stuff. Chainsaw sitting in the floor. It was an amazing amount of stuff that just sat there, and I was tripping over it, trying to find it. It's a jumbled up mess. And so by going to this system right here and actually getting everything hung up where it needs to go, and then bringing the batteries over and actually charging on the wall, which I'll show you here in a minute of different things we've done, I have just tickled. I couldn't ask for a better system. So let me walk you around and show you what we've done. There's nothing too terribly complicated that I've done. It's all been pretty simple and straightforward. I built it all. Nothing super fancy, but it has just really been a super big help. All right, well, let me show you a few of these shelves and some of the things I've done on here that are super simple. I tell you what, this has really been a big deal. All this is right up here is a mop holder. And so it was just basically, you put your mops and your brooms on it. But what I ended up doing is I used them for all my attachments for my combi set on my weed eaters and all that. So anyways, push up, that holds good. But for a nice cheap setup, that has really worked out well. So the other thing that I've got going on here, let's move on down. Okay, so I've got the vices all up on the wall hung here. That has really been just these little steps have just made a huge difference. And I'll tell you the funny thing about this right here, having my chairs set there, just coming across and having them on a hanger, that has been, just keeping the silly chairs has just made a huge difference. All right, so now all of our Milwaukee batteries, there's our regular battery chargers, but the other day I went out and I bought a 4-station charger for my Milwaukees. And boy, that has really been a big help. So everything here on my shelf has actually been charged. And then I just rotate my batteries out of my truck. So every Monday before I go into work, I just take all the batteries out of my truck, stick them on the charger, take the fresh ones, and I've got it. And that has just really worked out good. So this set stays here and then the other set, and I just basically rotate them back and forth. So that way I make sure that I've always got batteries. So that's worked out pretty good. Now these shelves are very simple to make. I didn't get too crazy. They're literally just a 2 by 12 that I cut in half. And if you see right here, I just put a small brackets right there just to hold them. And then I took my router and just kind of rounded the edges off just a little bit so it's a little smoother. But boy, they make some fine shelves. And then I just decided a spot to put all my tape measures and all that goodness there. So that got those out of the way. And there's all my combo kits from weed eaters and then the chairs. The thing about it is just having these levels setting up here just where I know where they're at, that has just really been simple. It's just amazing. A few little things that I've done to organize and just to make myself accountable and a lot faster to find things. It has really just been a big change. So let me show you what else I've done to this thing. Now, what I did on my weed eaters, I actually came in and I just cut a couple 2x4s and I cut on an angle and spaced them out and then screwed them straight to the wood. And then I just made it to where it'd hook on the bottom of this to hold it. And that has really, it just works great. It's just the little things. It's nothing fancy. I'm sure you could buy high-dollar racks, but these are just nice, quick, easy things that I've just kind of came up with on the spur of the moment just to get things to where they're organized. But what I was having a hard time figuring out where to put the charger, so I actually mounted my charger right here beside it, and that just makes it nice and simple. And also, one of my other additions was I put this chrome-plated power cord down here below it to where I could actually keep everything straight. So then right here is my Crest battery for the Crest weed eater. I've got it mounted there. And then I've actually got my real weed eater, pair of cutters and all that. But now here are my AK batteries. So these are all the AK batteries I've got. And then there's my blowers, my brooms, my chainsaws, all that, my chop saws. I mean, that has just really, I can't stress to you how much it's helped just keeping things organized. And then I've got my Festool tracks hanging in there on the wall. Just little things like that has just really been just make things so much simpler to find when I need it. So I really have enjoyed all this. This has just been a real nice addition to my little world to keep things straight. Now, these shelves right here were super simple. I triangled a 2x4, put a 2x4 here, triangled 2 of them, and then this was actually some OSB wood that I put on there. It was 1 1/8 inch, so it was pretty thick, and that's what I actually made the stand. So I made 3 of those for my saws. You know, it took about 15-20 minutes, but they made great racks. I just screwed them straight to the wall. So that's all I did for those. So now the nice thing about these actually just hang on a screw. So I just put a screw in here, and on the bottom side of these, they've actually got a hanger. So I mean, that just really makes it slick. For these little blowers right here, I can have no complaints. They have just worked out phenomenally. So the AP series, I am going to add an AP series saw to our mix and maybe another weed eater, but the AK I'm going to keep in my blowers and my hedge trimmers just because they work fine. We have no issues whatsoever. They do everything we ever ask of them. So that's a nice, easy setup for us. Now you can see what we've done here for our chop saw. Now I built a little bit heavier of a stand on it, and so it actually just to hold it on the wall. It's a fairly heavy unit, so I just wanted to make sure I beefed it up just a little extra just to make sure that thing didn't fall on the floor. This shelf is actually for my chainsaw skill saw, and so anyways, that's my brother's got it, so that's why it's empty. But now this shelf is pretty simple. This is actually some 12-inch wood that I had left over from when I was doing my staircase in a previous video. So what I did, I actually just made them hollow. So what I did, there's a 1x12, a 1x12, and I just put some, now these are not fancy by no means, but then I put a 2x4 and I mounted it to the wall, so then I can just slide it on. And then I've got my actual hanger for wherever I want to do it. So if I ever want to move these around, you know, I can do whatever I want. I can take these screws out and move it to whatever part of the board I want. So it's just kind of made it super simple, and it's good and solid. That's what I really liked about it. So it just slides right on there and holds it. But this is all of the camera stuff we have to have for different things, batteries, mics. I mean, it's just a bunch of little stuff. And so this cooler actually died, and so I just decided to use it as my charging station. And what I ended up doing is I put double-sided tape down and actually taped them down to where they'd stay put. So I wouldn't have to worry about them falling off. And it just is, and then I've got everything on a power strip cord. Tell you what, guys, I hope y'all enjoyed the video. Hope y'all learned something and you got some ideas. And if you wouldn't mind giving me a like, subscribe, that would be great. And don't forget, if you have a question or want to know something, hit me up. All right, guys, I'll see y'all next week. Thank you so much.